What's up, Exotics fam? Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here, thanks for checking us out. And if you like videos centered around reptiles, amphibians, and invertebrates, and basically all exotic animals, make sure that you smash that subscribe button and turn your notifications on so you don't miss any of our upcoming content. We upload videos every Tuesday and every single Saturday.
And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. We're really glad that our idiotic tendencies have not pushed you away yet. And as always, we love our community and we really value them. So if you want to get the chance to know us, other community members, we'll leave a link to the Discord in the description.
If you were to go onto Google right now, or YouTube, because I guess Google owns YouTube, and you were to search best beginner tarantula, you are going to be inundated with list after list, top 10 best beginner this, top 12 best beginner this, and you are going to see a bunch of excellent species on there, such as the curly hair tarantula, the striped knee tarantula, the Brazilian black, the pink toe tarantula. And you know what? Those are all great species. We keep pretty much every single one of them that I just said. But what is the best beginner species?
And also, what separates a beginner species from an advanced species?
Yeah, who made these rules? My name is Jeff.
My name is Maddox.
So stick around and let's get into it. So as we stated earlier, all of these species that you find on the beginner list are great species. We love them, we keep several of them. Not all of them that you're gonna see on every single list you look at, but a big majority of them. But what if you go look at these lists trying to find the best tarantula for you to start with, and none of these are appealing to you? What if you like the bright blues of a Goody Sapphire, or you want something that gets a little bit bigger like a Goliath bird eater? Or maybe you want something that can be potentially a bright pink or purple, like a blue bloom or one of the other species in the Xenesis genus. Does that make it wrong? Do you have to stick to one of the tarantulas on the beginner list just because you've never kept one before?
So before we dive any further into this question, what really makes the difference between a beginner species and an advanced species? Well, for starters, there's Old World versus New World. New World tarantulas are found in North, Central, and South America. And Old World species are found in Africa, Asia, and various parts of coastal Australia. So New World tarantulas typically don't have as medically significant venom, and the reason we use medically significant and not deadly is because there is no reported case of a tarantula ever killing a human. So to make up for their lack of medically significant venom, they have what is called urticating hairs. And what urticating hairs are is something that they will either kick or rub directly off of their abdomen, and it forms a cloud in the air, and the hairs in the air, so a lot of rhyming right there, that's a mouthful, they will either hook in your skin, the eyes or nose of a predator, and it causes severe itching, rashes, and the symptoms can last for weeks. Additionally, New World species are known to be slower, less defensive, and overall more docile.
Old World species don't possess the urticating hairs, so they're not going to be kicking clouds up into the air that can risk getting into your eyes or nose. However, overall, they are considered to have medically significant venom, and they are faster, and they are typically a lot more defensive than most of the New World species. So even though the Old World species have more medically significant venom and can be a little bit more defensive and are faster and more likely to bolt during something like a rehouse, or sometimes even if you're just opening the cage, they also are going to typically have brighter colors. Not all of them, but a big majority of them. Trust me, there are some really, really pretty New World species also. But just, talking generalized here, the Old World species are going to be a lot prettier. You're going to get the Postalotheria genus are some of the most favorites in the hobby because they're big, they're beautiful, and they're arboreal. So there are still a lot of reasons why people want to keep these.
So now that you have the basic idea down of Old World versus New World, let's get back to our original question. What separates a beginner species from an advanced species?
Okay, so yes, most advanced species are going to be old worlds. A lot of people say you should get experience keeping new worlds before you ever try an old world. There are also lists out there of your best old worlds to start with that are not going to be the most defensive, such as a Stromatopelma calceatum or a Heteroscodra maculata, which is the feather-legged baboon and the Togo starburst baboon.
Now keep in mind that there are advanced species that are new worlds, and the biggest two deciding factors between an advanced and a beginner species is going to be humidity and moisture requirements and habitat size.
In addition to those main factors, tarantulas in general, as long as you set their enclosure up properly, they are going to run and hide. They are not going to be defensive. They're not going to be aggressive. They're not going to come after you. They're not out to get you. However, if you buy a smaller spider, as it grows, you're going to need to put it into a bigger enclosure. We've talked about this several times on this channel. They like tighter spaces. It makes them feel safer. So you don't want to get a spider that is only the size of a dime and put it in a 10-gallon enclosure. So you're going to have to move them into bigger enclosures as they grow. And this is typically, if you are going to have an issue with a spider trying to run away, getting defensive, or trying to bite you, it's going to be when you are rehousing them. And the old worlds with their medically significant venom and their speed is where you're going to see your most problems. Another thing you need to consider is whether or not you want to handle your spider. Now, we personally do not handle any of our tarantulas unless they jump on our hand unexpectedly. Then we'll let them crawl around on us. However, while they're crawling around on us, we are constantly trying to get them back into their enclosure. We don't judge people who do want to handle their tarantulas. I understand that there are people out there that want to do that. However, we feel it's a lot safer for us and the spider if we do not handle them. So we have spit out a ton of information at you, talking about the differences between old world, new world, medically significant venom, urticating hairs, large enclosures, small enclosures, humidity, sorry, I don't like the term humidity, moisture requirements. So what does that all really mean?
So what all of this means is that it's just aspects to consider when choosing your first tarantula. So in our opinion, the best beginner tarantula is the one that most interests you.
Now, get your pitchforks ready. I know I'm gonna catch some hate from this. We're both gonna catch some hate for this, and I get it. This is a controversial answer to this question. We should have just said the curly hair tarantula is the best beginner tarantula because, yeah, it probably is. However, if you think that the curly hair tarantula is not what you want and you think it's kind of boring, I personally think they're fluffy and adorable, but everybody has their own opinion. That is the beauty of this hobby. There are hundreds of different species to choose from in this hobby, and you can find one that is perfect for you. Now, am I saying that everybody should go out and buy a feather-legged baboon or a cobalt blue for their very first tarantula? No. However, if you think that the cobalt blue is the coolest freaking giant spider on the planet, I am saying you can do the proper research, you can set up the proper enclosure, and you can watch videos, you can learn how to handle faster, more defensive spiders, and you can absolutely get a cobalt blue if that's really what you want to do. Again, neither one of us are recommending that you go out and buy a feather-legged baboon or a cobalt blue for your very first tarantula. What we are recommending is that you research all the species available and don't stick yourself in the box of just the beginner list. If I told you what our top 10 tarantulas were, I'm gonna go ahead and just tell you, 5 of them were considered beginner species. The other 5 were the orange baboon, the feather-legged baboon, the Togo starburst baboon, the Indian ornamental, and the Theraphosa sturmi. Those are all considered advanced species.
Now, we've had just as good of a time working with our beginner species as opposed to our advanced species. Now, the reason for that is we did hours and hours of research on each tarantula specifically, beginner and advanced alike. And you have to do that research because there's some beginner species that do enjoy the higher moisture, and there's some advanced species that enjoy the higher moisture. You also need to make sure they have plenty of hiding places. And when we got our first moisture-dependent species, we had some mold problems because having a higher humidity enclosure causes mold, so we had to learn how to make bioactive setups. If you would like to know how to make a bioactive setup, click the link right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot to us.
I know we spit out a lot of information in this video. Like, a lot of information. Especially for us, because we typically make videos that are somewhat educational, but mostly just entertaining and a lot of feeding animals. And in this one, we did throw out a lot of info to you. But the one thing that I really just want to cement in here is we're not recommending any specific species. We're not recommending that you buy a species that's considered advanced. We're not recommending that you stick to beginner species.
We're recommending that you do your own research and see what's perfect and is gonna be a good fit for you.
Yes, because we believe that if you get a species that you're more interested in, you're gonna take better care of it, you're gonna be more likely to learn more about it, and you're not just gonna go buy the first tarantula you see, come home and stick it in a box and forget about it. But if that's what you really wanna do, there's a species out there for you. And if you like the beginner species, maybe you think that the striped knee tarantula is just the coolest tarantula you've ever seen. By all means, get that one.
And as always, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We got a link to the Discord and Instagram in the description of the video.
And our merch store.
And our merch store.
Yeah, get you some new shirts. Not this shirt. I don't know why I did that, because like this isn't one of our shirts. But yeah, get yourself a new shirt. But thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you next time.